everybody, welcome to the 45th and best episode of the Hashcast. And as always, I have a guest way cooler and way interesting than myself. And today, that is so true. Britanni Johnson, everybody. How are you, Brit?
Hi, everybody. I'm really good. How are you doing?
Good. I'm glad we managed to get this together. And the first thing we noticed when we started recording is that we have the same world map. How cool is that?
I know. Yeah. I mean, I do have a cool background, but we realized that we're both map nerds.
Yeah, we are both map nerds. I can't show it because it's not on behind me, but it's cool. I want to talk to you about where you have been on the map all over, because I've had my pins in it myself as well.
I actually don't have pins. I need to do that. So I have this map that's behind me, which takes up most of my wall, and then I have a map where I scratch off where I've been.
That's good.
I mean,
yeah.
I need to get pins for this one. I just haven't done that yet.
That's fine. That's all good. So, Britt, millions of people have seen your face and heard your voice, and you are a lot more famous than I am. But I always assume that there's at least one person in the audience that does not know who you are. So for that one person, it's probably my mom. I make this joke every week. Who is Britanni Johnson, and what is it that you do?
Oh my goodness, what do I do? So most people know me as Angel from Borderlands. That's now been about 10 years since the first out. I think this year is the 10th year, which is crazy to me that I've been in this industry for that long. But yes, I am. So the first game I did some voiceover stuff. The character is modeled after me, so I did a lot of green screen capture for the second game as well. If you've played Borderlands and you're not recalling it, I'm the one who pops up and tells you where to go and what to do. And then in the second game, unfortunately, spoiler alert, you find me. I'll just say that. But yeah, so since then I've worked on a couple other games. I've worked on a game called Oxenfree, which is honestly probably one of my favorite projects I've ever worked on. It's with a small team called Night School Studio, and they have a game coming out called After Party. They're just really funny. They're just a funny group of people. But other than that, you might see me hosting or doing any kind of appearances, influencer work. I do a lot of esports hosting as well. So I've traveled around the world at different Counter-Strike, League of Legends tournaments. Oh my gosh, I've done everything. Hearthstone, who knows? But yeah, I just try to do anything in all gaming.
Yeah, I saw that, how much you did, and I was doing my homework, look up some old interviews to make sure I don't ask the same questions that you've had 100 times. But there's one extremely pressing question I have, because I came across a video of you and Hot Pepper Gaming. Now, a question I have is, why would you do it to yourself, and why twice? Unless there's more videos I did not find yet.
Oh, it was only twice. And I love spicy food. However, yourself do that is not pleasant. It is not pleasant whatsoever. You know what? That's so funny. I get recognized from Hot Pepper Gaming more often than you would think. I'm like, you should be from Borderlands or whatever. And they're like, no, I remember the Pepper video. And I'm like, really? My friend Jared would love that. But yeah, Hot Pepper Gaming. I had a group of friends who was running a very successful channel. They asked me to come on. I loved doing it. After the first one, I was like, I'm never doing that again. Don't ever ask me to do it again. Lo and behold, a couple months later, they're like, do you want to do it again? And I was like, yeah, why not? And then quickly realized why I didn't do it again. But I'm someone you can ask me to do anything and I'll try it once. So since then, I've done, the hot chip challenge. I've done that, almost died. I'm always subjecting myself to painful scenarios for other people's entertainment. But it's, you know what, I honestly have a lot of fun doing it. So, oh, I lost volume. No, I lost volume. I can't hear.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, I saw the video and I was like, oh no, she did it twice. Like, fool me once, right? But you seem to actually enjoy yourself eating a pepper like that. So
it was fun.
Yeah.
It was a fun. they make it a fun experience. You go there with other people who are also filming. You hang out. Um, it's like it's people that you've known forever, so you're just like hanging out with them anyway. So it's not like they didn't have to twist my arm too much.
Okay, well, that's good. Like, I won't have you eat hot peppers on my show because it's an hour long and you probably actually die. And I'm not even gonna start.
Like, I gotta rest my day. At least I did that at night so I could go home, drink some milk, and go to bed.
Yeah, that's true. Fair enough. But like you said, like, people recognize you from the hot pepper game, but like more than Borderlands 2. Now, I'm a huge Borderlands fan. Like, I love those games. So when you started following me on Twitter, I followed you on Twitter. I was like, "What is Angel from Borderlands? This is so cool." And now we're talking. How did that happen exactly? Because you are the only live acting person in that game, right? All the rest is all cartoony style. How did they find you, or did you audition for that? How did that happen?
So I was not in video games or acting any sort of talent whatsoever. I was going to school for something completely different. Gearbox Studios, based in Dallas, Texas, or Plano, Texas. God, I think it's in Frisco now. But I lived in Fort Worth. And they put out a big open call saying, "Hey, if you want to be in a video game, come audition." So a friend of mine who knew how much I loved playing games said, "Well, why don't you audition for this?" I was kind of like, okay, sure. And I honestly thought, because the audition was at SMU Guildhall, I thought it was some student project. And I was like, oh, okay, like, whatever. I really didn't think anything of it. And they didn't tell you that it was Borderlands. A couple auditions later, I ended up getting it. And I still didn't realize what it was, I guess. It wasn't until it came out where I realized, like, wow, this is actually a really big project. So they kind of took me under their wing. After school every day, I would go to Gearbox Software. I would work with the different departments. I got to see them designing the characters. I got to watch the artists actually drawing sketches up. I got to work with the person who wrote the scripts. I got to work with the sound design. I worked with Randy and Christy Pitchford. I'm an acting coach, because at that point I'd never done anything before. So they really kind of molded me and really jump-started my career for what it is today.
That's pretty cool, because it's it's a big start, because Borderlands sold like a lot of units, and like I remember playing Borderlands, and I didn't know you back then, but like you can't miss it. You can't miss like you popping up constantly. So that is quite the start in your career that you had. How many doors did that open for you? Like, what was the next thing that? Because I know you've been a gamer all your life. Like, how do you connect that real life to, oh my God, I'm in a video game now?
Well, honestly, it opened up a career that I never knew was possible, because, I mean, I was going to law school. I have always wanted to work in game. I just never knew how. So opportunity really gave me the chance to explore that. And what that kind of snowballed into is I would be asked to, and I'm just to backtrack a little bit, I have a very business background. I've always kind of been wired that way. And so there was no way I was going to move out to LA and just like let the fate be in Hollywood's hands that I was going to be an actor or something like that. I was like, no, this is the industry. My heart, my passion, my interest lies in gaming. I've really got to take my future into my own hands here and work with what I have. So I had to come out to LA anyways for some award shows and some press junkets for Borderlands 2. I ended up never going home. And I would guest host or host on a show or go on some talk show or something, and I would always be asked back to guest host again. And I was like, oh, there's something to this. I just kind of naturally let it keep going. And that's kind of where the hosting career kind of sprouted from. I worked with Machinima. I went into Machinima once, ended up working with Machinima a ton of times. I went into Maker once, ended up having a show on Maker. It was my dream to work on G4. I did get to work. I did guest host on G4, but then unfortunately, before that could become anything, G4 was no more. And I was always just looking for the next opportunity to build upon my career. In that, because I always had my business side, I've also at that point started consulting for companies as well, just because I was so at this point well connected within MCNs back in the day when MCNs were a thing, publishers, developers, more media outlets, anything like that. So connecting the dots was something super easy, and that made sense to me. So whenever I wasn't doing talent stuff, I was doing that. And I'm sure that's going to be one of your questions later. That's kind of what turned into what I do today.
Yeah. So. Yeah, because you have 2 bachelor degrees, or is it one combined one? I'm not sure if I did my homework correctly there.
Yes, political science. I have a BS in political science and energy technology and management. Yeah. So oil and gas.
Yeah. Hey, I used to work in electricity, so I totally feel you. But that is so cool to me, because that is like, those are pretty significant education that you have that, and then you get picked up and you do Borderlands, and now all of a sudden you have this whole life in gaming, which moved from a hobby to like your living. How does it feel to have such a, like, do your dream job? Is this your dream job, or is there more to come?
There's more to come for sure. If you ask me where I see myself in 5 to 10 years, like I will always do voiceover, because no matter whatever I do as my career, voiceover is something that you can always do on the side. Not for anyone out there listening who wants to do voiceover, that doesn't need to be your full-time job. It could be a hobby. Like, it's something that you can do whenever you get home at night or whatever it is. And so I've always viewed voiceover as, you know what, no matter what it is that I do, whether I work on the business side or work on the talent side, voiceover video games will always be part of my life, and so that's kind of what the mantra I've gone by, and so any company I work for, I always tell them, it's something important that I have to keep a part of my identity, and it's why I'm here today, so I got to keep doing it,
Yeah. How did that? Because I love talking about voiceovers. Well, it's not for me, because I hate hearing my own voice, and I do a podcast every week.
Yeah, you have a great voice.
Thank you. That's good to hear. It's just so weird listening to yourself. Like, you're probably used to it by now. But how did Oxenfree happen? I'm always interested in the origin stories. Like, did they just find you, or because you are very visible, but then voice is an entirely different skill set, right? So how did they figure out, like, we're going to get Brit on this game?
You know what? It was actually, I think I knew that they were I knew that they were making this game, and I've heard about them before. So I reached out to them and said, I would love to audition for your game. And I think Sean Krinkle, messaged me back almost immediately and was like, yes, please, would love to have you. So I auditioned for a couple roles, and they found me best fit for Nona. And it was a great experience. We all got along. We're still friends today, still working on some of their other games, and worked with a few other ones since then with the same team. But yeah, I that was me hustling. I reached out to them and said, I love what you guys have done, where you guys have come from. I want to be a part of this. And so they were like, yeah, by all means, let's audition and get it going.
Yeah, no, I love the hustle. I love talking to people who just make stuff happen for themselves. And there's so much talent in the gaming industry, but you go a little bit beyond the gaming industry with everything you've done. But like I say, you have a very good background. You are a hustler. You just got that opportunity, and you start kicking doors open. What makes you so incredibly good at this and successful? Is it what is it? Where does that fire come from?
You know what? I think it's that I want to be I want to be an example for people who didn't know that a career in gaming is possible, because I didn't know either. And it's like, just like the example I just gave, you have to make the opportunity for yourself. You just can't wait for it to pop up in front of you. You can't say, oh, it'd be really cool if this happened one day. It's not going to happen like that. And it's very rare that it does. You have to make those opportunities for yourself. You have to, be bold enough to make those phone calls, to send those emails, to make yourself visible so that you are top of mind. You can't just be a face. You have to be business as well. And if you're going to have any longevity in this industry, you've got to think both ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I absolutely hear you. So, like, it's hard to, like, I was going through everything you've done, and it's like, okay, what threads am I going to pull at? Because there's just so much. And you briefly mentioned that Oxenfree is probably one of your favorite things that you worked on. But what are the leads that you're chasing right now? Because I see you doing red carpet, I see you doing covering events. Like, do you have a focus, or do you want to be that angel of all trades, which is the name of the episode?
Oh, I mean, I'll be angel of all trades as long as I am able to juggle that. I think I find beauty in chaos. And so one day I'm focusing on talent. The next day I'm in business meetings all day, and so I think one of the things that you might have seen is last year I kind of took a step back from, you still saw me doing talent stuff. I took a step back from talent stuff and really focused on working in gaming and esports specifically, and was the director of league operations and business development for a tournament organizer. And so I built out a PUBG tournament, was super successful, loved doing it, loved building those relationships with the teams and the developers and whatnot, but quickly realized I don't love the production side of tournaments. Yeah. So I learned my lesson, took my experience with that, and still continue to work with teams or companies in the esports space, with any type of strategy of partnerships and influencer marketing. But this year specifically, I've kind of switched gears and focused a little bit more on talent. So it's really funny because I've always been so focused on gaming, which I still am. And I'm very much still focused on gaming, but this year it's really funny. I've had auditions for other things. Like I got all of a sudden Hollywood's very interested in gaming, and I got a new manager who's put me up for, I think, Charmed, The 100, Young and the Restless, that's out of left field, for Angel of all trades and the soap opera star. That's not happening, by the way, but I'm trying to keep myself open to whatever doors may open and go along with what's supposed to happen. I believe heavily in what's meant to be the lead. And so I keep my business on the right track, on the same track, but then I let talent stuff just kind of evolve.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, and I love talking to women like yourself who really are kicking ass and taking names. So I enjoy your business brain. Like when I see you at all the projects you do, and I think that's probably a part of why you are so successful at what you do, because you have it all, right? So you organize your first your first tournament. How did it go? Because unfortunately, we still hear sometimes that women in the gaming industry have those extra barriers, right, that they have to leap over. But you come in, walk in the door, and you just start kicking ass. PUBG tournament, how did that happen?
So, so I built out. So sorry, I have to gather my thoughts. So I worked for ESP Gaming for the WSOE, building out what that would look like. There are some barriers in gaming because that was for women, but you know what? When I go to an event and I see how many women are actually in the industry and involved, and more so now than it ever has been, would have to say, 7 years ago when I was going to events, it was, if I saw 5 other girls there, I was shocked. But now there's a big community, like I think women are kind of saying like, hey, we're good at the business side, we're good at the marketing side, and so you're starting to see that more and more. But WSOE, it was good. It was a very successful event for a PUBG tournament. It was called the PUBG Pan Continental. Well produced. Well, like the hospitality was better than most tournaments that these players have gone to. They have a lot of money behind them that they're able to do those things as well. But I can't say anything for what WSOE is now because I don't have my hands in it, but I know that they've continued to go on and put on great tournaments. I guess my fear for them and for, anyone who's trying to get into the space right now, because all of a sudden everyone's all about esports, is you're getting a lot of people who are fans of games, who are gamers, who think they know a lot about esports, who are trying to come into the space and actually don't. You're seeing a lot of consultants that they're like, I'm an expert in esports. And you're like, yeah, what, how? I've never seen it before in my life. And same for some of these production and tournament organizers. A lot of them come from the sports world and think that the model works the same for esports. But as much as we do need change, you also have to pay attention to the community and the culture, and you have to be genuine and authentic to that, or else people see right through it. And so, it's a constant battle. And I like to say, we're flying this plane and building it at the same time because everyone's still learning what that is. No one is an expert, but it's definitely in the past 3 years has been a roller coaster for sure.
Yeah. It's interesting to see how the whole esports world is developing. I remember, I think it was 2 years ago, I was E3 and I was at the Ubisoft press conference, and next to me was this huge investor guy, like he had $1 billion, like he would like talking about that portfolio, and he was like, so do you think I should buy an esports team? I was like, first of all, that's kind of a complicated question, because it's right. Like, you don't know, right? I said, well, it's definitely growing, but you've been like in this from the start. Do you think I see a little bit of ups and downs in the esports world, because like sometimes it's on fire, and all of a sudden you see a Blizzard who gets rid of like all their esports teams. Like I can't even imagine how that must feel if you invested so much time in becoming an esports player, and then it's just like, we don't feel it anymore. Where do you, like you said, we're flying and building this thing at the same time, but what do you think the next 2 years, what are going to be the big things that we're going to see in esports?
Well, I do have to say, esports has been around forever. Counter-Strike, look at Counter-Strike and Call of Duty and Halo for how long that's been around. Esports isn't any new territory. However, I sorry for anyone that's going to like trigger someone out there. I know I don't like Overwatch. I think so sorry, it's a trash game. But I understand and respect it so much because of what it's done for esports. If it wasn't for the money and the hype that Overwatch has and that Activision put behind it and Blizzard, esports wouldn't be what it is right now. And a lot of people argue, oh no, Fortnite did that. No. Fortnite's not an esport. Fortnite is what all the guys who have money, their children play Fortnite. So then they go, oh, maybe, sorry, my dog is hacking up the hair. And, like these investors or these football team owners or brands, they'll come into the space saying, oh, we don't know anything about esports, but we know we want to invest, whether that's in a team or a tournament or sponsor someone or whatever it may be. They're like, oh, okay, what got you into this? Oh, my kid plays Fortnite. Okay, well, and so everyone says, or not everyone says, but you do hear the few people, the hecklers that say, oh, it's a bubble, it's going to be a bubble. I don't want to jinx it. I don't want it to be a bubble because esports isn't going anywhere. it is the future. I'm not going to say it's the future of sports, because sports will always be around as well. Football will always be big. Basketball will always continue to be big, but it's not going anywhere. We don't want that bubble to burst. And as long as Overwatch is being successful, it's keeping a status quo. But we want to see other titles grow and other events grow as well. Stop it.
I like the dog in the background. Is he or she okay?
Yeah, she wants to play.
Oh.
Nola, she's a terrorist.
She is.
She just wants to play, and she's like, "Mom, oh my gosh."
That's
okay.
Good dog cameo. I'm always here for the dog cameos. So, what would be a game? Like, I know you're a lifelong gamer. You do esports. You do everything. What would your esports game be? Like, which game are you so good at that you're like, yeah, come at me, bro?
Oh my gosh, me as okay. You know what? If they turned Overcooked into an esports, just kidding. I'm kidding, but kind of not really. I would have to say I play a lot, but I play a lot of RPG games. If I do play anything like that, it would probably be Fortnite or Apex. I'm playing Apex right now, but I'm not that good at it for some reason. It's super smooth and so easy to play, so fun to play, but I'm not as good as my friends at all for some reason.
I play a lot, not super good. I'm decent at a lot of games, but I'm not like super good at any game. So esports is probably not for me, unfortunately. I do want to geek out about one thing with you, because I saw an old tweet of yours. You were talking about Sea of Thieves. The dog is like, no, I want to be on this conversation. And you mentioned a game, which is probably a game, one of my favorite games of all time, and it is Uncharted Waters: New Horizons.
Oh yeah.
I love that game, and I saw you tweet about it. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm not the only person who loves this game. Like, that is.
Oh no, you're not the only person at all. Many people love Uncharted.
Yeah, like, this game is a very old game, and if you do not know what we're talking about, this is, I don't even know how to describe it. It's all based on real life explorers, and you're basically just setting up trade routes, defeating pirates, and I don't know what made it so good, but why do you love that game? Because I saw you mention it specifically, like, oh, I love this game.
You know what? It's so nostalgic for me, because that was one of the first games I ever played. Whenever I had a PC, it was one of those, I look back at the graphics now and I think, oh my God, that's so crazy that I thought, when I'm little and I'm playing this game, I'm like, oh my God, the water's so beautiful. The guy is so handsome. The girls are so beautiful. And like, you look now and like their faces are all pixelated. And I think that game was so good. Because, there was a story to it, but you can kind of go off and do whatever you wanted. Like, I loved going and fighting with pirate ships, getting treasure, getting a pretty necklace, going back to the village and giving a girl like a necklace. Be like, ooh, I'm building up a relationship with these village people or whatever. That game and the fighting, the turn-based, I'm always a sucker for turn-based fighting. I think that's so much fun. I think everyone now would like yawn at it, but yeah, Uncharted Waters, you're right. That also ages us
a little bit.
I feel like people who played that old school PC, they know about Uncharted Waters. They love it, but you're right. If I say that on Twitter right now, everyone's like, what's that?
It's true. Like, I think I got that game on one of these, like, I'm not sure if it was an illegal city, so don't send the cops at me, but it had like 200 games in one on PC, because you could probably fit like 200 games on a CD. And one of my favorite things about that game was there were so many secrets in there, and there was one shop in like a super faraway port, and if you would go into the shop between 2 and 3 a.m., it sold like a super strong sword. And when you buy that, you could defeat any pirate. I forgot about that. It was real time too. So not real time as in like, oh, right now it's
11 p.m. So, but it did have those like, oh, if you go into the port during this time, and you go to the bar, then this person will be there, and that stuff's cool. Because there's strategy to it. You have to have strategy. You have to know the secrets. But it was also back when games like came with secrets, and people had guides to that stuff. And I remember I would always, whenever my parents ever got me a game, they would always give me like the thick strategy book. Yeah. Oh, I miss that.
Yeah, it's a golden age of gaming, because sometimes I miss it, not all the time, because I love when I get stuck, I can just go online and find the solution to a puzzle I can beat. But hearing about stuff on like the playground at school, like, and you never know what was really true or not. That was such a nice era of gaming that we're never gonna get back. But oh well.
You know what? Some developer out there, please remake Uncharted, or just don't change it. Don't change it from what it is. Just make it look prettier and release it for, I don't know, for limited time. Don't spend too much resources on it. Yeah. But I think that would do really well again. I think you would have a good, amount of people that remember it, that would play it. And I think because of, Sea of Thieves, more people would be interested in it now.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great history, because like these are all based on characters that actually existed. I think they changed the names around a little bit, probably, I don't know, copyright for people that lived in the 1700s.
Trademark, like they're going to come back and sue them.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. But yeah, no, I love that game. It kind of awoken my adventurer, because
which is why we have maps today.
That's right. Like I look at it right now, but like, yeah, I can still see the trade routes going around the Cape Arcadier. I want to talk about travel a little bit, because I've seen your Instagram and you've been in a lot of very nice places. Did you always have that travel bug, or is it just some kind of that came with the job?
One, it came with the job. Mm-hmm. I will. That working in esports, whenever you work in esports, you're part of a global community, and it's not just that you live in one city and you go, this is the hub for it. You have to be able to, go everywhere if that's something that you want to do. And I've been lucky enough to work on some tournaments and on some campaigns, specifically Join the Republic had me traveling. I was in Asia for 3 months. 3-4 months. I've been all over the world for esports, and I'm so grateful for that, because I've met so many great people, seen so many different cultures, and I've been able to see gaming for what it is all around the world, what's available to people, what they love, and you know what? We're all the same, and it's really cool to see that, and it really is a global community, and that's opened my eyes to it. But it's always been something that's important to me and my family. I grew up in Japan. And I say grew up in Japan. I was there from when I was born until about 5. So I don't have too much of a memory of it. But enough that I knew the language really well. I have all these photos of when I was little, field days and whatnot. But my family always told me how important it was to travel and to understand different cultures and be open-minded, but also have an open heart to other people and other experiences. And so I've always kept that with me. And if I ever have a chance, I will go somewhere. And I'm a spontaneous traveler. I've been, I'm not so proud of this moment, drunk at a bar and be like, I'm going to go to Cuba tomorrow. And I wake up in the morning with a check-in email being like, your flight is leaving to Cuba soon. And I'm like, So I'll do stuff like that. And, but it's what really ignites me. As much as I do have a passion for gaming, I have a passion for the world and flying. I love airplanes, and I'm someone who I can be in an airplane for 13 hours and be like, this is so exciting.
I'm almost 6'7", so being in an airplane is always a terrible experience for me. Except when I flew to Thailand Then I had like the sweet seats where I had like could stretch my legs out. It was perfect
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
because it was like
Like
14 hours. What's your I know this is a question you probably can't just answer top of your head, but what's your top 3 cities of the places you've been?
top three cities of places I've been in. I would have to say Barcelona is number one. Oh, that's really hard. I love Stockholm. And I would have to say probably, if it's a city though,
Yeah, or whatever place.
I mean, Krabi, where I was at in Thailand, on Railay Beach would have to be the one of the top places I've ever been to, just because it is so breathtaking. Seeing the limestone cliffs on the beaches and the Phi Islands and all of that, it's unreal how beautiful that is. So it's not necessarily a city, but it's definitely it's one of the coolest places I've been.
Yeah, I missed so much in Thailand. I only saw Bangkok because I used it as a hub, and then I traveled from there to Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia, and then back to Bangkok because it was only an airport for me. But I spent way too much time in Bangkok, like 3 or 4 days, which is too much Bangkok. Like,
Too much Bangkok.
Yeah.
I was about 2 weeks working where I wasn't able to travel to Chiang Mai or Phuket or Krabi. And I fell in love with Bangkok for what it is, but honestly, like when I went back for my birthday like a month ago, like, yeah, it's just like LA. Like there's more traffic. I don't know how that's even possible, but you don't want to spend more than 2 nights in Bangkok.
No, it's the worst. And like I said, it's such a contrast there because you have, if people are listening and you think of backpacking or doing travel, like I would definitely recommend it. But like I said, no more than 2 days. Because you have, on one side, you have like the backpack center, it's Koh Sang Road, where all the bars are, all the parties. And then you take like a bike somewhere and you're in like super hyper modern Thailand. Like you got the Paragon Mall, which is like state of the art, where the Lamborghinis are, and there's like a boat. It's super weird. It's such a weird contrast.
It's a really weird contrast because you spend some time in Bangkok and then you go to Chiang Mai and you're like, it's a completely different world. It's the city, the people, the food. The food is amazing, and it's so Chiang Mai or not Chiang Mai. I'm going to say Thailand is super special in general, just because it's insanely cheap to travel there, and that is what a lot of people go, oh, I wish I could travel as much as you do, and I'm like, it's really not that expensive for 10 days in Thailand, and we were everywhere. We banked 2 nights in Bangkok, a couple nights in Chiang Mai, a beach resort in Krabi. It was like $333 per person for hotels for the entire.
Yeah, it's not. I was in Laos and I was staying at I wouldn't call it a hotel. It was a roof for $5 a night for 2 people. It is
That's insane.
ridiculous.
Insane. And I haven't been able to go to Laos or Vietnam or anything like that, but I hear Vietnam and Cambodia are super beautiful.
It is. It's
and even cheaper.
Yeah, I know. Vietnam had one of my best experiences, but also my absolute worst experience, which was the train ride to a place called Sapa. It's in the north of Vietnam. Probably one of the worst nights of my life because I got like bamboozled to get a train ticket, which put me on like a little wooden bench for 10 hours. It was the absolute worst. But that's the beauty of travel, right? Because now it's a fantastic story.
You have that memory.
What is your like? Everybody likes hearing nightmare stories, but if you traveled so much, like, what is the absolute oh my goodness experience that you had in your travels?
I've been pretty lucky with my travels, and I think my nightmare, it's a personal nightmare, and like I'm gonna say this and or be like, oh, that's nothing, because it's nothing. It's just kind of being, I don't even want to say naive. Like my first time I went, and my only time I've been in Shanghai, I wasn't quite prepared for it. And so when I got there, I don't know Mandarin. I don't know Cantonese. You can't use Google Translate. You can't use Google anything. Your phone I can use my phone anywhere in the world and it will work just like it does at home. Thank you, T-Mobile. But China, if you don't have Kakao Talk or I forgot the other one. It's like Kakao Talk for everyone or WeChat, but I think it's WeChat. But you're helpless. And I got to the airport in Shanghai, and I think I stayed there for 2 hours, being like, how do I exist without a phone? Where do I even go? Where am I even staying? I don't know. Don't have like things for that. I felt like such a lost soul there. And then finally, it's like I've got to figure this out. I have a week here. I've got if I don't figure it out now, this is going to be a disaster of a trip. So I don't have anything bad that's happened where it's like I've been bamboozled into a really bad ticket, or maybe I have been extorted for money in China. That everywhere you go and you get a taxi, make sure they use a meter, because if you get in and they just go and they're like, oh, no meter, pay me this much, you're going to get bamboozled because no, you're going to. Sure, it wasn't like whenever and he took me to an ATM and made me get out whatever it was, and I was like, oh, great, I might have to be held at gunpoint. But I look back on it, I'm like, well, it really wasn't that much money. It was like $30, But a moment you're like, I'm being held against my will,
Yeah.
But lesson learned, and if I can ever not take a taxi, I won't. Yeah. But some places you have to.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Like you said, I would definitely recommend people to do travel, because I think it grows you as a person. Getting the perspective from different cultures and how things work. Even if you want to look at it through the lens of gaming, it is truly what brings us together, because everybody's playing almost the same games nowadays worldwide.
Oh my gosh. And it's really cool, especially in Asia. And I'm more experienced with Asia than Europe, so I can't really speak for Europe. But the gaming community is very strong in Europe. But in Asia, if you go to these internet cafes that are there, it's a part of their culture. It's community when you go in there, and it's something you have to see. It's definitely something you have to see, and you have to go in and just even if you have your gaming laptop with you, or you had no intention of whatsoever, you should just go and play for 30 minutes if you have it, and kind of experience what it is like. Because I think in Kuala Lumpur, I was just blown away by these gaming and esports cafes that we just don't have here. We don't have that stuff here. And I'm like, that's so crazy, because, my life is consumed by it. But when I think about it, there's not this, I guess I have an internet cafe right down the street, or a cyber cafe, but, it's not as big of a deal here, than it is in Asia.
Yeah, no, it's true, and I felt the same about arcades when I was in Tokyo when I was a teenager. I think it was Dead or Alive 2 just came out, and back then, this sounds crazy to you young'uns listening to this, but connected machines were not a super big thing. In the old days, you just had your arcade, you played, and then someone would stand next to you. But in there, they were connected, so I could play against someone on the other side of the aisle. I didn't know that. So I was playing, and I accidentally won one round, and then the guy switched to his favorite character, and he destroyed me. And then afterwards, he came to see who he was playing, and there's this giant Dutch dude sitting there, and he was super apologetic. I was like, no, that was awesome. But yeah, gaming around the world is just amazing to see and get the perspective. So I think you've done so much, right? You've been around the world. You had your hand in pretty much everything gaming related. Let's be honest. What is next for you? Because you mentioned briefly there's other acting opportunities for you now. What is the dream for you, if you still have something left?
If I still have something left, I'm not going to say this is it's a goal. It's definitely a goal, because it's something that I think would be so insanely cool. I'm a big reader. I read. I was all about Ready Player One. I'm reading Three Body Problem right now, so I'm looking at my books everywhere. And then I get so excited when I see that, adapted for television or for a movie or whatever, even if the movie's not as good as the book or the game in that matter. But I think it would be so great to have the ability to be in a show or a movie that's like that. You know, like I'm not someone who like, I'm going to win an Oscar. I'm going to be the next Meryl Streep. No, I don't care about that. I don't. I'm like, my life and my passion and everything I do will always be gaming. But if I ever have the opportunity to be in a show kind of like The Expanse or to do something in the Star Wars or Star Trek world or anything sci-fi, fantasy-ish, I will jump on that in a heartbeat. And, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting these auditions. I'm doing something right, you know. I didn't study acting or anything, but I'm good at it. And I'm not going to just, if I did get some, I am also starting my own business this year. And if that just kind of took over as starting your own business should, or if I did jump onto a company as like head of partnerships or strategy or anything like that, I am okay hanging up the talent hat, but I'll still always do voiceover. But I would say, like, yes, if I had one more thing left in me that I could do that I haven't done yet, it would be a TV show or everything.
I would love to see you there. Like you said, sci-fi. Is there any character like that you would love to portray, like gaming, books, movies, or like, do you have something in mind? Like, oh, I would kill for that. Like, I was talking to Amanda Troop, she also does VO, and like her dream role would be like Harley Quinn. Do you have anything like that? Either VO or on the screen?
Oh my gosh. For VO, it would be a remake of Final Fantasy VII, Tifa or Eris for sure. I would die. I would, even if I was just a tree in the wind background, like, I'm okay. As long as I can be in that game, it would be life-changing for me. Or not even life-changing, but it would just be like, that's my favorite game of all time. So I would just melt. But I think for a movie, you know what? I can't say anything like coming out in particular, but I would want to do, like, Rey probably would have been a good character from Star Wars. I definitely am like, oh, I could have done that. You know, I love her for what she, Daisy Ridley. She's amazing at her job in that character. But, that's the one character I look at and go, I could have done that,
Yeah, I saw you for some Alita Battle Angel background stuff. I saw you do some flips and so. Where does that come from? Is that a whole new talent that we haven't even talked about? Do you do gymnastics, or what was that all about?
Oh no! Okay, so that was just a thing. I'm very thankful for this and grateful. But 20th Century Fox just invited me out to the premiere, and then a part of that was I was able to go work with the stunt team and learn some of the stuff from the movie. And that was a really cool experience. I'm not the most graceful, coordinated person in the world. With that, I would love to be in like an X-Men or Marvel movie. That's it. I'm all about like the superheroes. Like, and that, if I ever did that, I always said like, I want to do my own stunts. That stuff is hard. It's really hard. And I learned that with Alita, working with the stunt team. Given we only had an hour to learn, whatever it was that we did, like a little chase scene. But holy crap, I couldn't walk for a couple of days. But I didn't actually work on the film. A lot of people asked me if I was in the film. Like, no, but a lot of people asked me if I was the main character, which was really funny. I'm not the main character either. It was just a really cool opportunity that 20th Century Fox gave a bunch of influencers to take part in. And, we obviously have to do your posts and whatnot, but it was a really cool experience. I'm really thankful for that.
Yeah. Well, you say you're not the most coordinated person, but I saw you do a flip there, and a move like did take some skill, I think.
There was a lot. Yeah, I mean, I'm athletic. I'd like to say I'm athletic. I like to work out and like be as healthy as I could possibly be. You only have your body once, So I tried to do that, but I was like doing these jumps and these fight scenes. You're moving your body in ways you don't normally move, and so that I doing this like cartwheel into this like warrior pose. Sure, that's fun, and you can do it so many times, but holy crap, that's workout.
That's funny. Well, you never know. I mean, we are waiting. Everybody's waiting for a Final Fantasy VII remake. Maybe they haven't done voice yet.
God, I hope not.
You never know when the phone call comes. Also, I was watching an episode of GT Live earlier where you were on when Oxenfree just came out, and you said that you wanted to marry Cloud when you were playing that for the first time. Does that still hold up?
I mean, no. It was what we were talking about with Uncharted and graphics. Whenever I first played Final Fantasy VII, and I was 8 years old. I don't remember how old exactly I was, but you watch that and you're like, oh my gosh, Cloud is so beautiful, and like Aeris is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, and Cloud's so handsome, I'm gonna marry him. And like now you go back and look, and he had block hands, eyeballs, no mouth, and spikes for hair, and you're like, how as a child did I have the imagination to think he was the most attractive human in existence?
It's funny, it's funny how that works, hey? Because I remember that game gorgeous when I think about how it looked. Even when you look at the cutscenes, it's like this was brand new technology that they were still using. But hey, maybe the new Cloud PS5 probably at this point. Maybe he'll win your heart over again.
Maybe. I feel like, you know what? If I'm single, I don't know.
Come on, Cloud. Give her a call.
I know. Whoever's the actor that hires Cloud, you're like, if you're Cloud forever, I will love you.
Fair enough. I think that is probably as close we can get to marrying Cloud or Tifa. I can see it as Tifa. Dear Lord. You got everything going on for you.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God.
Well, don't die. Let's not die on the show when you get that call. But so, like I've mentioned this many times, you have done so many things. You are so talented. Who are the people that still inspire you to push yourself harder? Or is there anything you look up to, or where do you draw inspiration from?
I would say definitely in the esports world. Seltzer, do you know? Everyone knows Seltzer. She's a good friend of mine and someone who I always look up to because she's been in the space for so long. And so I definitely drive a lot of inspiration from her because she is one of the hardest working people I know, but also has just built this amazing career and passion in gaming. And anytime I ever get a chance to work for her, I love it. Like we've co-hosted for a couple of projects together, and she just gives me life. She really does. But there's so many women in the space that, it's hard. Kiki Wolfkill too is one of my favorite people I've ever met in the gaming space, and she has been in it for a really long time. She was one of the few women back in the day, and so seeing her still involved, still passionate, still killing it is definitely inspirational for me as well. And that's on the business side, I would say. Growing up, I always watched Morgan Webb and all the G4 people, and that's where I saw my dog's like growling in the background. G4, so Olivia Munn, Morgan Webb, all of them. I definitely Jessica Chobot. I have my like OG, like, oh my gosh, high school. I'm like, I remember watching you whenever I was in high school. So that's really cool too to see them whenever they're out and about. I know, Olivia Munn has gone on to do amazing things, and Morgan Webb I think she's a writer at a studio now. Like I just love everyone's trajectory of where they went, when they started in gaming. So if I can have the career of any of them, I would be so grateful.
Yeah. Do you still have moments, or maybe you're already completely used to this, where you're like, I can't believe that this is my job, this is my life right now?
Oh, yes, all the time. I'm so grateful. And, each year is a whole new set of experiences. It's not mundane whatsoever. It's not expected whatsoever. And every event I go to, I leave inspired to do something more. So E3, I think every year is probably my favorite. But even so, PAX or like IEM Katowice or League of Legends Worlds, those are the two events where I'm in there in the room at the Spodek, seeing everyone chanting and cheering on their favorite team, and you're like, oh my gosh, I've got chills, and stuff like that is like, holy crap, like I'm so grateful to be a part of this. And E3, whenever you're around so many people that you've known for so many years working, and it's kind of like a high school reunion, you're like, oh, it really is the best industry because everyone is so supporting of each other. And like, if I ever needed anyone or a connection to any company or anything, there's so many people I can call up and that would be more than willing to help. And so, it's not like that Hollywood's like every man out for himself. It's wolves out there, and gaming, it's not. It's everyone really does support each other.
Yeah. No, it is lovely. It is lovely people getting together, making things happen. And that's kind of why I want to do this show, to highlight those people, because like we enjoy the product, we enjoy the content, but behind that is just a group of extremely passionate, kind, genuine people, and that's why I love doing what I do. That I get to talk to people like yourself who make this all happen. So I have a new thing that I tried with Will last time on the show. It's brand new, and I want to focus on the things that we put into the world that we think make the world a better place. So I know this is hard to pick maybe just one, but what is a thing that you're super proud of that you put in the world that you believe like, hey, I contributed to making this place a little better?
Something I put out in the world. I mean, that's a hard question to think about. I like to inspire people to open their mind to in their hearts to other cultures, and try to think globally, not just about yourself or where you're at or that community that you're in. When you see very triggered posts or threads, or you feel very strongly about something, to try to see the other side of it. So I'm a big preacher of that, where I'm like, you really don't know unless you've seen through their eyes or walked in their shoes, or know where they the culture in which they grew up in, that they feel the way they do. And you can always still have your opinion, but always try to at least step back and say, okay, what does this look like outside looking in? And the best way to do that is to travel. Okay, my computer's going to die.
Okay, we're good. We're right at the edge. So we're going to close out and with what I call podcast and chill. So Brittany, where can we find you? And is there anything you want to plug or promote real quick?
I can't announce anything that I'm working on right now, but that will be for another podcast. I will definitely come back and join you again. But if you just catch me on Twitter or Instagram at Britanni Johnson, Britanni Johnson. You'll find me on all my traveling and adventures and everything. I try to post and keep up as much as I can. So.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, Britt. I really enjoyed getting to know you a little better, because it's one thing to shoot the shit on Twitter, but getting to chat with you for an hour has been absolutely delightful.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and absolutely. When you have the big news, please feel free to drop back in. I'll always have time for you. And if you're still listening, thanks so much for tuning in. I am the Hashtagonist, and this is the Hashcast, with every week a cool guest out of the gaming, tech, or movie industry, or when you're Brit, all three at the same time. So thanks for listening, and we'll check again soon.
Thank you. Bye.